Welcome back to training sessions on MDX. This is our second session, and in last session we covered the basics of MDX. We have not covered much in-depth concepts in the first session. We have covered just the basic, what is MDX and how to write the basic, simple MDX queries. So let's start with the simple one. As I told you, the simplest I can provide is select from cube name. What it is gonna return? It is gonna return the default measure whatever we specified in the cube while developing the cube, while designing the cube. By default, it will take one measure. You can change it, okay? And by default, it has taken sales amount. Generally, it takes the first measure that you have added to the cube as the default measure. Now, let's add something to this. As you all aware of the axis, we have a we can add n number of axes, but our machines, our systems does not support more than 2 axes. Our systems are 2-dimensional. I can go for x-axis and y-axis, that is 0 axis and axis 1. And you all are aware that 0th axis is nothing but columns and first axis 1 is nothing but rows. Now let's start with column axis. I'm taking the same query and trying to add some axes, columns, some items on the columns. So let's see how to add a measure to the columns. So I'm taking sales amount on columns, or what I can write, or I can simply write 0, or I can write axis of 0. All the three means the same. So I prefer to go with the names. So I'll go with columns. So select sales amount on columns from AdventureWorks queue. If I execute this, I will get the sales amount, total sales amount value in the columns. If you see, this is the columns. Now let's see how to add a measure, or how to add an item to rows, the second axis. So I'm copying the same query again. After columns, I have to add a comma. I need a separator, right? That's the end of columns. And here I'm adding, I can add one more measure on rows. And if I execute this, I'll get error. Why? Because there is a policy, there is a principle in MDX that same hierarchy should not be present in 2 axes. Same hierarchy in the sense here measures is the same hierarchy. We will have a long discussion on these hierarchies and stuff in a couple of minutes, okay? Remember that same hierarchy, measures is the hierarchy for sales amount, and for tax amount the same measures is the hierarchy. You cannot have same hierarchy in 2 axes, any 2 axes or any 2 areas in the MDX query. So that is why it is throwing error. So what I can do, instead of going for measures on the row axis, I can go for some other hierarchy. Other hierarchy in the sense, due date is a different hierarchy. I can go for calendar year instead of tax amount. So I'm taking it and I'm removing the measures. Now this hierarchy, the sales amount hierarchy is measures, whereas the calendar year hierarchy is due date dot calendar year. These two are not same, so it will accept. Now let me execute this and let's see how it shows. You can see, as defined by us, as we defined, in columns it is showing sales amount, and in rows it is showing years, calendar year. So this is the basic MDX query that you can write with columns and rows. Now we're going to spend some time on identifying what is hierarchy, what is dimension, and what is level. There will be 3 things, okay? There will be 3 parts in any attribute or measure whatever you drag, okay? Those are dimension, next one is hierarchy, and third one is level, okay? Let's, for example, if I drag calendar year, okay, I'm getting due date. This is the first one is dimension, The second one is hierarchy, and the third one is level. Okay. In the same way, let me drag due date time key. The first one is dimension, the second one is hierarchy, and the third one is level. So why I am having hierarchy and the level as same? If you see, the hierarchy and the level are same. The hierarchy is calendar year and the level is also calendar year, right? Here the hierarchy is time key and the level is also time key. Why it is same? Why it is not different? Why? Because you have two types of things, two types of items available in any dimension. If you take any dimension, you will have two types of things. One is, as you all aware of it, I think, one is attributes and the second one is hierarchies, right? And you all know what is the difference, main difference between attribute and hierarchy. Attribute will have default two levels. One is all and next one is members. Whereas hierarchies will have many levels. I'll go back to SSA solution. I want to demonstrate this one here, or else you will get confused. So let me go back to SSA solution to explain the difference between hierarchies and attributes. Remember one point, attribute is also a hierarchy but with default two levels, whereas hierarchy will have n number of levels as per our definition. Let me show you the same. I'm going to the time dimension where I have defined couple of hierarchies, not couple, only one hierarchy it seems. Let me go to the time dimension. So this is one hierarchy and these are all attributes. But in MDX perspective, there is nothing called as attribute. We have only hierarchies. Okay. We have two types of hierarchies. One is the hierarchy what we define and another one is attribute hierarchy. They call it as attribute hierarchy. So the difference is this hierarchy will have so many levels. If you see, these are all the levels defined by me. This is one level, this is one level, this is one level, this is one level. But these attributes will have only two levels. What are those two levels? Let's see now. Let me take the pen. So those two levels, let's see now itself. This is the hierarchy I defined. I can see this is one level. You can see the current level it is showing us. The next level is calendar year level and next level is semester level. You can see it here. And next level is quarter level and next level is month level. So you have 5 to 6 levels defined in the hierarchy. If you go to an attribute, let's say for example calendar year, if you go to an attribute, you will have two levels. One is all and next one is members in it. No other levels, just only two levels. The only difference between attribute hierarchy and normal hierarchy is attribute hierarchy will have default fixed two levels, all under members under it. Whereas normal hierarchy will have the levels depends on the definition whatever you have given. So here, as this one will not have different so many levels. How many levels will have an attribute will have? It have only one level. So that level is nothing but the same whatever you are showing. That is why this attribute will have the hierarchy and the level name as same. Whereas if you drag and drop a hierarchy level, this is our hierarchy. If you drag a hierarchy level, you can see the hierarchy name is different and level name is different. Why? Because under the same hierarchy, we will have more than one levels. But for attributes, we will have only one level in it apart from all. That is why you will have the hierarchy and the level as same name in the for the attributes. So You have to keep in mind that the three parts of an attribute or a hierarchy, attribute hierarchy or a normal hierarchy is number one, dimension, number two, hierarchy, number three, level. So it's always good practice to write like this. This one, the first part is hierarchy. The second part is, the first part is dimension. The second part here, it is hierarchy. And for attribute hierarchy, the level will also be the same. And if you take an hierarchy, it will be the different case. This is an attribute hierarchy, this is a normal hierarchy. For this, the due date is the dimension. Calendar hierarchy is the hierarchy. And calendar year is the level as shown in this one. So if you take an attribute here, if you change the attribute name, that's it. The attribute name and the hierarchy name will be changed for this. But here it is not the case. The hierarchy is this one. The hierarchy name is this one. Under that it has 4 levels, and these are all the 4 levels. So in short, the shortest difference, the shortest manner, if you want me to differentiate between these two, attributes and hierarchies. For attribute is also an hierarchy, but with default 2 levels, whereas hierarchy can have a number of levels. And the second difference is in attribute you will have the hierarchy name and the level name as same, but in hierarchy you will have different hierarchy name and different level name. We have very important advantage of having this different hierarchy names. We will come to know about that. And if you take measure, it will have only 2 things. One is hierarchy and another one is the level. There will be no dimension. Why? Because it is not into dimension part here. This is a measure group and it has only hierarchy part and level part. So it is clear, I guess, I hope. Okay. Now let me go back to the query. The last successful query. This is a select statement which is working fine. Now if I add same hierarchy, if I add same attribute hierarchy here in the rows, what will happen? It will throw error saying that same hierarchy already appears in access 0. That means you are adding the calendar year hierarchy here, you are using calendar year hierarchy here, and also in the other axis, that is columns and rows. So this is the problem. As per MDX, you cannot have same hierarchy in 2 different axes. Okay. So this is the first and foremost thing that you have to keep in mind. Just because of this, people will be facing lots and lots of problems, and they decide not to learn MDX just because of this issue. I'm telling. So keep in mind the first and foremost point that you have to remember whenever you want to work on MDX or learn MDX, that same hierarchy should not appear in 2 axes. Okay. So here the hierarchy means from here to here. The hierarchy here means from here to here. The dimension plus hierarchy part is always called as hierarchy. Here it is saying, right, the calendar year hierarchy is appearing. So this is the problem. Now let me correct this query. Sorry. So instead of this one, I am making it as measures dot sales amount. So execute this. This is working fine. Now, what if I add something in where condition? Where tax amount. This one also will throw error. Why? Because the measures hierarchy is used in columns. If you are using any hierarchy in columns or rows, then you are not allowed to use the same hierarchy in where condition. This is one funniest restriction by Microsoft, and there is a reason behind it. We will discuss about it in later sessions. So remember, keep in mind, if there is any hierarchy defined in any column or any axis, then it is not allowed to use the same hierarchy in where condition 2. Here in this case, the measures are defined already in, taken already in columns, and that is why you are not allowed to use the same hierarchy item in where condition. So this is wrong. Now, what is the square brackets? The square brackets really kills people. If you see the square bracket, there will be so many. By seeing this, most of the people will get scared and they'll think like, they'll start thinking like MDX is the complex language by seeing the square brackets, flower brackets, and so on. Let me tell you why we need square brackets. I've given square brackets here, but I've not given here. And again, it's given in all these three places. The reason for adding square brackets is if you have any space in the name, for example, sales amount, there is a space, and hence you have to give square brackets. If you see the sales, this measure, there is nothing, right? There is no space. That is why I can give like this, measures dot sales. Okay. So the square brackets is mainly when the name is having a space. Okay. When there is no space, then no need to give square brackets. And you know, if you don't give these measures, sorry, still it runs. The only problem is performance. If you give measures like this, it will go on search in everything. Instead of directly going to the measures, it will go on search in everything. So if the cube is pretty big one, it will take a lot of time to find out where this sales is present. Where the sales is present, whether it is present under due date dimension or order date dimension. If you don't specify to which hierarchy it belongs. So it's always good to specify the hierarchy that any particular item belongs to, so that it will directly jump into that. For example, here it is measures.sales. So directly it will come to this measures part instead of going through these dimensions. So it's a good practice to have the hierarchy part before the item, whatever you are using in either columns, rows, or in where condition. Okay, let's come back now. I'm going for sales amount. Select sales amount on columns, comma. I'm taking product now, English product name. Let me take the English product name. On rows from cube name, and the cube name is AdventureWorks DW. If I execute this, I'll get product names on the rows and sales amount on the columns. Here you have to remember one thing. If you observe this, I have given product dimension and English product name. I have not defined the remaining part, that is the level part. If I don't specify the level part for an attribute, then it will show the value that is having at that particular level, the first level. What is the first level? The first level for attribute is all. So it is showing all here. And if you add level also, then, sorry, let me copy this. If you add level also, then it will go to that particular level. Now this is going to first level. Here, if you see the cube, this is the first level. It will go to the first level. If you provide the level name, that is calendar year, then it will show year values, product values, or whatever it may be. I've given English product name here, that's why the product names are coming. So if you define only at to hierarchy level, then you are gonna get only all. If you define the attribute level, the level, then you will get whatever the level you specify. Okay. If, for example, if you drag calendar year due date dot calendar year calendar year, then you will get all the 4 years information that is present in the cube. Instead of the, if you specify calendar year due date dot calendar year, then it will take the hierarchy top level. That is all in our cube database. Now we are going to start working on functions. Functions will start now. I'm getting null values. How to eliminate these nulls? Now let's see how to eliminate the null values in MDX. So to eliminate the null values in MDX, there is a function. For everything you will find functions here in MDX. The function is non space empty. Okay, non space empty. If you specify this non space empty, it will eliminate the nulls. You can see there is no null record coming in the result set. And if you observe, you are not getting the column header here. Okay, for the row items, it won't return the column header. That is the MDX. MDX default structure, whatever they have given, it won't give. Why? Because this is the row item. Row item is starting from here. This particular cell is for column item, for sales amount. Okay, there is nothing here, and hence it won't show. In MDX, it won't show the row items, the column names. You won't get that. Remember that, and don't worry thinking that I'm not getting column name for the row items. So it won't happen. It won't come. And this is the function, non-empty function. Non-empty function is used to filter the empty records. Now I'm copying the same old query, okay, without non-empty. And how to add more than one measure? Let's see that. How to add more than one measure? Now I have sales amount. Let me add tax amount. So you have to separate it by comma, but you have to keep two things in flower brackets. I will explain you why you have to use flower brackets, not the other type of brackets. Okay. Now let me execute this. This is how you can get more than one measure in the columns. You can add n number of measures with the comma separator. And if you have more than one, then it should be in flower brackets. Even if you have one, it's always good practice to keep the things in flower brackets like this. Now I have only one measure in the column. Still I kept it in flower brackets, and you can see the values are returning some data. Now we have seen about non-empty function. Okay, we have seen non-empty function, and we have seen how to add more than one measure into the columns. Let's go back to the query which we have taken first. And what will happen if I add dim product here, standard cost? This is another measure. So I have more than one measure, that's why I have given flower brackets here. If I execute this, you can see it is getting, this is the standard cost for this particular product, and this is the standard cost for this particular product, and you have zeros for remaining, for which you don't have data or something like that. This is the standard cost that is present for each product. Now observe it very, very, very carefully. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna add non-empty to this. What will happen? I've given non-empty. Now, as per the definition, it has to filter all the null records, but here if you see, it is not filtering. The reason is whenever you apply non-empty on the rows, this is the rows. I applied non-empty on the row items. That means here, this is one row item, this is one row item, this is one row item, this is one row item. So what will happen is it will come and see all the values that are present for this particular row. If all the values are null, then that particular row will be eliminated. Okay. For the condition, this should be null, this should be null, and if you have more columns, every column should be null. If at least one column is having value, then it won't hide that particular value. For example, here, let me add two more measures. Let me add sales to, let me add tax amount. Okay. If I execute this, it will come and check whether this is null or not. Yes, it is null. This is null or not. No, it is not null. So this will be shown. Then it will come to the next row. This is null or not. No, it is not null. So it will not be, sorry, it will be shown. In the same way, this will be shown. Here it is null, it is null, it is null. But this is not null. And hence the record is showing in the result set. So keep in mind, whenever you use non-empty function, in that case, the entire row data should be null. If you don't have anything null, like any one item, at least one item is not null value, then that particular row will not be taken out. The row will be included in the result set. So this is about the non-empty function. Non-empty function, generally it eliminates the null records if and only if all the complete and the entire row is having null values. If at least one row item is having not null value, then the record will not be hidden or record will not be taken out. Now we are going to discuss the building blocks. I can say building blocks for the MDX. Without this, there is no MDX. We are going to discuss about a couple of things, and the most important interview question. If any guy interviews you on MDX, this will be the first question. This will be the first question that you are going to face. That is sets and tuples. The must and should question. If a guy did not ask this question, then that means he is not an MDX guy. What is a set and what is a tuple? Before going to this, let us revisit the attribute structure, attribute hierarchy structure, and hierarchy structure. This is attribute hierarchy and this is original hierarchy. That means general hierarchy. So this is our dimension. We all know this. From here to here, this is, we call it as hierarchy, and this is the level. The last one is the level. The total is called attribute hierarchy level. In the same way, here, whenever people says, whenever the error comes like the same hierarchy is used in another axis, we face, I've shown you a couple of examples by adding measures in the where condition and also in columns. It was throwing an error, right? Measures already included in another axis. So measures hierarchy is already present in another axis. That means it will check for this part, whether this particular hierarchy part is exist in the other axis or not. That is why it was throwing that error. So the first and foremost thing that you have to keep in mind while working on MDX is same hierarchy should not be present in two axes. Here where condition is also an axis. Okay. Now sets and tuples. What is set and what is tuple? Set means collection of items. This is an item. Measures.sales amount is an item. Measures.standard cost is an item. Measures.sales is an item. Here, as I'm highlighting right here. So in the same way, a collection of items is called a set. Even English product name, this is an item. Collection of items is a set. What is tuple? Tuple means collection of items. Both are having the same definition. Then what is the difference between these two? So the difference between these two is collection of items. I will highlight this with same hierarchy. Collection of items with different hierarchy. what is same hierarchy and what is different hierarchy. For example, I'm taking couple of items here. You have to tell me whether it is the same hierarchy or different hierarchy. I dragged calendar year from here. I dragged calendar semester. I dragged calendar quarter and English month name. Is it same hierarchy, or all these four are having same hierarchy or different hierarchy? These all are having same hierarchy. Why? Because you can see the hierarchy part is same for everything, right? This is called set. The collection of items with the same hierarchy is called as set, and the set will be represented using flower brackets, right? This is a set. Set means collection of items with same hierarchy, and it will be represented as it will be taken in flower brackets. Now you must have understood why we have given flower brackets here. Why we have given flower brackets for this particular measure set. Measures. Why? Because this is a set. All the items that are present in this one is having same hierarchy, and that is measures. So that is why I have added flower brackets and we call it as set. Now let's see an example for tuple. Let me drag and drop. Instead of taking from hierarchy, if I take from attributes. This is calendar year attribute hierarchy. This is calendar semester attribute hierarchy. This is calendar quarter attribute hierarchy. And this is English month name. Let me drag it. Now, all these four are having same hierarchy or different hierarchies? So these four are having different hierarchies. Why? Because the first one is not matching with the second one, which is not matching with the third one, which is not matching with the fourth one. So these four, if I have a collection of items like this with a different hierarchy, then we call it as tuple, and this one will be represented in brown brackets, this one. Okay. So the difference between tuple and set, now we are going to see that. We are going to see what is the difference between tuple and set and how it will be executed. The first and foremost difference now we have seen. The set will have same hierarchy items, whereas tuple will have different hierarchy items. Now let's go back. Let me take the query. I don't know whether I've copied it. Yeah, it is still there. Super good. Now what I'm going to do here is, instead of this one item, I'm taking the set. That means set of items. Okay. And also I'm taking the same query again, but replacing this set with tuple. Observe it very carefully what I'm doing here. I'm replacing it with tuple. By seeing the output, you have to tell me what is the difference between set and tuple here. Now first I'm executing this, which is having couple of items which are combinedly forming a set. I executed this. If you see this, first it is returning 2001, the year information, all the years information. Next it is returning semester information. Next it is returning quarter information. Next it is returning month information. You can see this is semesters and then quarters and then months. So one by one it is coming. Now let me execute the tuple, the query which is having tuple of items. Can you see the difference? Here first, one of the difference is, if you use set, it will be in one column. All this one in one column, this one in the same column, these items in the same column, these item numbers in the same column. But set, it will be in different columns. Sorry, I'm extremely sorry. Set will be in the same column, whereas tuple in the different columns. So what set will do is, set will do union part. I think you still remember the union concepts we discussed in SQL Server. If you do union, the same column should be there and it will be joined. So the set will do union part, whereas tuple will do cross join part. It will do cross join. That is one of the difference between set and union. So if you want to show everything, all these four, year, semester, quarter, month in the same column, then you have to do union. So for doing union, you have to go for set. And for tuple, it will be cross join. So remember one point here. Set means similar items, similar hierarchy items. Tuple means different hierarchy items. This is more than enough for now. And when we start working on different functions, then you will come to know about this a lot, the set and tuple. Fantastic. We have seen what is tuple and set. What is the difference between tuple and set? One, we have seen couple of queries. A set will have union, will do union, whereas tuple will do cross join part. Cross join means this one. Every year will be joined with every semester and will be joined with every month and every quarter. It will be like this. So this is how it joins. Now we're gonna see how to, you have to tell me whether it is a tuple or not. I want to have a simple query. Select sales amount on columns, comma, English product name. It is somewhere here. Observe it. Every time I'm taking from the level, I'm not dragging from hierarchy. This is hierarchy and this is the level. If you drag this, then you will get two times. One is hierarchy English product name dot English product name, that is level. On rows, from cube name. So it is giving me so many null values. So what I'm doing here is non-empty function. I'm using non-empty function to eliminate the null values. But in SSAS cube, if you see, you can have rows, you can have measures, and also you can have columns, right? You can drag something into columns. For example, if you see here, let me go to the cube and let me go to the browse part. What the output you are getting here is nothing but dragging the products into this, English product name into this, and what is the measure? I have dragged measure sales amount to here. This is the same you are seeing here. If you see the output 1900368 is the first one and it is all purpose bike stand. Exactly matching. How can I achieve this one? If I want to add colors onto the columns, how can I achieve this? I don't have any third axis here to go for, right? How can I achieve this? So what it is doing, it is cross joining color with sales amount, right? All colors, it is cross joining with sales amount. So to achieve these kind of requirements, that is nothing but adding more than one item in the columns. More than one item in the column means you have already seen adding same kind of items like sales, blah blah blah, that one and this one and so on. I mean, we have added 3 to 4 different measures and seen, right? Now let's see how to add colors in the columns. How to add color? It is simple. Drag and drop the color into the columns. And you need a separator, add comma. What these two will form? Will these two form a set or a tuple? So these two forms a tuple. Why? Because these two are having different hierarchies. So I have to put it in round brackets. If I do that, it will take each color and it will cross join with sales amount. And if you see here, you are getting color wise sales amount, right? So this is how you can do magic. So MJX is fantastic language if you understand the basics. So this is tuple on the columns. Let's have a different tuple now. I'll take this. Instead of colors, I'll go for months. Let's say due date, and I'm taking English month name. I want to show English month name on the row, on the columns, and also measure and English product name in the rows. If you see, there are some months where there is no sales at all. There is nothing like that. I think we have sales for each and every measure. Okay, fine. Now, similar to how we have added for the rows, you can add non-empty for columns too. If you add columns, then if there is any column with full null values from top to bottom, the complete column should have null values. If you have anything like that, then it will eliminate that particular column. So that's the non-empty. That's the job of non-empty in the columns. In the rows, it will check the complete row, whether the value, all the values are nulls or not. If not, then it will show, or else if, sorry, I'm extremely sorry. It will check whether all the values are nulls or not. If not, then it will show. If it is all nulls, then it will eliminate the record. In the same way, the non-empty in the columns, it will check for all the values in that particular column. If it is null, then completely null, then it will eliminate that particular column, or else it will show. For example, now I have given non-empty, and if you see, there will be at least one value in this. See, we have values here for these products. So like this. Okay, this is how you can use non-empty in the columns and rows. So if you see here, you have so many months and months are repeating. Why? Because why months are repeating? If you see here, August, it is repeating somewhere here again. And in the same way, September, it is repeating. Why it is repeating? What is the reason behind it? The reason is pretty simple. We have defined the time dimension, right? What is the key column we have taken for the months? The key column we have taken for the month is collection. That is year plus month to make the hierarchy work. I hope you guys still remember this. When we were working on attribute relationships, we added this calendar year. Now it will check. This is you people, what you are seeing here is this one as August, but in backend it will be 2001 August and 2001 April. It will be like that. If I copy this and paste it here, I'll get all the values. I've copied the column, and lucky if you are, it is displaying only this one. Let me double click this. If you see this, the name, the unique name is 2001 August, but what it is showing to us is caption, that is to August, the name column. The key column is 2001 August. If you go to the next August, it will be 2002 August. So that is why you are getting same values again and again. So you don't need to worry about it. It's as per the definition we have given. If you remove this, you will get only one record. If you remove this part, now let me do one thing. I'm gonna add, this is my English month name, right? With duplicates, sorry, with the distinct records for every year. I'm taking one more English month name. I'm renaming it as months. Okay. And here in the key column, I'll leave it as months. I'm not gonna have year plus months. Okay. Let me group it, and it will go to the end. Where is that key column and name column? Shit, it is not highlighted. So if you see the key column, it is English month name, and there is no name column. That means by default it will take the key column. Now let me process this cube. I'll show you the difference. The difference between having multiple key columns and single key column. For this English month name, I have multiple key columns. That is the combination of year and months. whereas for months it is only months, English month name. Let's see how it differs when we use the same in MDX query. First, for that I need to process it, which will take very less time, not going to take more time. The cube is processed. Now let me go back here. Let me take, sorry. Let me take the query. This is the query, right, which we have used. I'm taking a new window, completely new one, and I pasted it. You can see you are getting duplicate records here. August and August again and again. Now, instead of English month name, I'm taking the another attribute where I have only one key column. The attribute with only one key column, that is months. So let me drag and drop it. To execute this, you are getting only distinct records. You won't get duplicate records. So this is also one difference between having, this is the place where you will find the difference in having multiple key columns for the same attribute, for one attribute, and single key column. So aware in mind, as per first key, you have to keep the requirements in mind while designing the cube. If your requirement says that you have to show August only once, then you have to add this kind of measure. If your requirement says that you have to define this kind of hierarchy, then you need this. So what you can do, you can hide this one, you can show this one. It's easy one, not a big deal. So if you are getting confused with this, for example, if you see it is showing August, you don't know which August it is. If you are getting confused, then you can add one more item to this. Nothing wrong. You can add year to this. This will become a tuple. Why? Because this is one hierarchy, the year. This is another hierarchy. And the third one is another hierarchy. It will be year, month, and sales amount. All three belongs to three different hierarchies. And if you see, you have 2001 August sales amount, 2001 December sales amount, 2001 July sales amount, and so on. So this is how you can define your MDX query to display both year and month name to avoid confusion whenever you have this kind of structure defined in SSASQ. So this is about sets, tuples, and having. Now let's refresh once again. I showed you how to add a single measure on columns and single attribute on rows. I'll copy this part, Adventure Works. And I also showed you how to add everything, calendar year, month, semester, and everything in rows. Where I've shown you that? I've shown you that using tuple, set here. If you define a set for the calendar, year, semester, quarter, and month name, pulling the items from hierarchy that we defined, you can see everything in one column, that is year, quarter, semester, and month. And I also showed you how to use a tuple and how it joins. It joins by using cross join, and it will be, the output will be like this. And I also showed you how to add tuples in columns and how to join measures and attributes. In this case, the one which I am highlighting, you can see the measures and attributes are merged into one tuple, right? And you can merge two different attributes also, like to form a tuple. Here, this is English product name. If I drag and drop color, obviously these two will be having two different hierarchies. One is having English product name, and another one will be having color. So this is a tuple with different attributes. This is a tuple. The first one is tuple with different attributes and measures, and this one is a tuple with attribute only and different attributes. So if you see here, It cross joins with year, month, and sales amount on columns, and product and colors on the rows. Okay. Okay guys, that's it for today's session. I'm giving a break here. Why? Because you need to go through this video again and again, if possible more than 4 to 5 times. Why? Because these are the building blocks for MDX. If you don't understand the concepts, whatever we have discussed today in today's session, then you can't learn MDX. Okay. Why? Because if you see, the first and foremost point I told you is no same hierarchies in two different axes. That's the first thing that should be in your mind. Whenever you are writing MDX, obviously you should not use the same hierarchy in two different hierarchies, so two different axes. And the second thing is, while defining tuple, whenever you are defining flower brackets, you have to be very careful that no different hierarchy should be there. Why? Because set means collection of same hierarchy items. And while going for tuple, you have to be again careful. It has to be different hierarchy items. Before closing this session, let's see the final one. Here, I have different hierarchies, right? This is the biggest tuple I've created today, where calendar year, English month name, and sales amount. What if I want to add couple of measures? Not only sales amount, I want to add tax amount, and I want to add sales. Now this one will form a tuple, right? If I execute this, will it work fine? The measure hierarchy is used more than once in the cross join. That means tuple. It used more than once. Why? Because the measures hierarchy. What is the tuple definition? Tuple definition means the same hierarchy should not be used. This is different hierarchy. This is different hierarchy. This is different hierarchy. But this hierarchy is used. This hierarchy is used. So what you can do? How can you make this query run? But if this is your requirement, how can you make this query run? It is simple. Make these common items as a set. So now what will happen is, first this set will be evaluated, and then this set will be cross joined with English month name and calendar year. If you execute this, for every year and for every month, you will get sales amount, tax amount, and sales. So you can use more than one set in a tuple. This is one set, right? This is a different hierarchy and this is a different hierarchy. These three belongs to same hierarchy, so I formed it as a set. So this is how you can play with MDX. So what you, homework for you guys, try to write as many sets as possible, as many tuples as possible, using sets in tuples and tuples in sets, and try to practice. And I'm expecting some 50 to 100 queries from you guys, from each and every guy. Send it to me once you're prepared, once you're done with the homework. That's it for today's session. Catch you tomorrow in next session. We're going to discuss a lot in coming session. Thank you very much.